What it do? Yo man, listen. Today, I want to talk about why things are the way they are. Let's get right into it. Now, I just want to lay some context here. I am treading on uncharted waters. Usually when I make videos, I often say things based on my knowledge of the Warhammer 40,000 universe and my extensive tabletop knowledge and experience, which I've accumulated over thousands of hours of tabletop gameplay. As you can tell, I'm very humble. So when I say things, I'm quite confident about them, and I'm very comfortable that I'm going to be right about them. That's how I have such a good track record when it comes to making predictions, because, if you play 40k enough, you'll have a good enough understanding of what units are coming to Tacticus. However, this video isn't like that. This video is mostly assumptions. The things I will say in this video are based on experiences I have had while playing other games. Most importantly, games that are not mobile games. I wrote actual games here because, mobile games are of course games. Of course, a lot of people work on these games. However, you cannot compare something like Tacticus to something like Monster Hunter World. I use that example because both games I have a lot of time on, but Monster Hunter World is an infinitely better game than Tacticus, and that's fine. There are different types of games. It's a mobile game. So when I say things, I want the possible few mobile game developers amongst you, if there are any, to not be too mean to me for the things I say if I'm wrong. Now, for the actual content, I'm going to make a very uncontroversial statement. There are problems with Tacticus. Now, you and I, we might argue semantics and say, hey, I disagree with this being a problem, or this is a problem for me, this is a problem, whatever. The fact of the matter is, there are problems in the game. The fact that we cannot agree on what the problems are doesn't matter. No game is perfect. If there were no problems, we will never get patches, we will never get game updates, we will never get bug fixes and whatnot. The game will just stay as is because, the game is perfect. And that's just not the case. So, what I want to focus on this video is talk about why we have the problems that are in the game. I want to try to explain why we are in the situation that we currently are in. And because I do think there is a very straightforward explanation. And I do think, base game design concepts apply here. The reason is because it works. Now, I understand it's a very vague statement, so I'll try to explain it better. Game design and game development is a glorified game of whack-a-mole. You need to keep doing stuff to keep your player base happy, especially in a free-to-play live service game, because you're asking players to invest their time and money in your game, and you need to do everything in your power to keep them happy. So why do problems matter? Like, why even fix problems, right? Because problems make you feel bad. If there's a bug in the game, if there is a problem character in the game that's ruining an experience. So, when you feel bad, you get unhappy with the game. And if you're unhappy with the game, you get frustrated. You stop buying stuff in the game, and then you stop playing the game. This isn't 2007, where the time of Modern Warfare 2 dominated the market. Games want your time, and they want you to constantly spend money on them, especially mobile games that are constantly updated, such as Tacticus. Tacticus is a live service game. This isn't the case of Modern Warfare 2, that's an example I like using because it's my favorite game, where, the person who bought the game, they spent $60, they bought the game. even if we don't do anything, they spent the money. There might be DLC, whatever. We might change things, whatever. They got the money. But Tacticus doesn't have that because Tacticus is a free-to-play game. So the goal is, hey, you know, we need to make the game good to keep players so they keep playing the game. You know, we gotta make it so Onslaught and Salvage are not rateable, so they spend more time in game, and we can show those numbers to get more advertisements, and that gets more money and whatnot. And then people watch advertisements to get in-game resources, so we can show those stats to advertisers, which give, you know, like, it's just this big loop. And this is just a fact, right? Like, I'm not saying this to be cynical, it's just the truth. But the fact that games have evolved to take our time and money consistently means something very interesting. It means you, as the individual, don't have that much power. Because say you want to take, you know, a stand, right? For example, you don't like the Ragnar Blackmane nerfs that are relatively recent. And you're going to say, you know, I'm boycotting the game. That's not going to do anything. That's not going to lead anywhere because there is a magnitude, like there's a large number of people who don't care, who are going to keep playing, keep buying stuff, which means, you know, your individual act of defiance means nothing. I mean, it probably means something to you. Of course, I respect that. However, in the large scheme of things, losing one player doesn't really matter when there are more players coming into the game every day. However, this also means that us as the community, as a single entity, we are so extremely powerful. This sounds so pretentious. Goodness, I feel like I'm in one of those stupid political things where like, we as the people, whatever. So the reason I'm saying this is because I can't really talk for Tacticus. However, there was a statement made by Retatosk saying, oh, only 30% of players have never spent money on this game. What that means is 70% of people who play this game spend some amount of money. This isn't a surprising stat to me because in the Game Developer Conference or the presentation in GSC, Bungie Game Studios, they had actually revealed their data about player expenditure. And what they showed was there is a very small, and 30% is relatively small, it's not very, but it's relatively small, group of people who never spend money. There's a very small group of people who spend a lot of money, but the average player, your, average guy, they're gonna spend money. They're gonna buy one or two things, and that's where the money's at. Let's be honest. Let's not act like the whales are keeping the game afloat. Like, okay. How about this? Let's say there are 60 employees at Snowprint Studios, which I think is like around the correct number. I don't know. I can't really verify. I think Rata did mention it sometime. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is, of course, all in general chat of the main Discord. And they're being, let's say, for the sake of argument, I have no way of confirming or denying this, I'm not making a claim, they're being paid fairly. A whale, let's say a whale who's down bad, like someone who's genuinely has a problem, and has spent $40,000 in the game, that doesn't pay 1 year's salary of one person. How many whales are there? Like, a genuine question. How many whales are there that spend obscene amounts of money? Where the money is at, where the main income is coming from, is people who log in, who buy the Commander Yerrick or Isabella deal when they first start the game because everyone tells them it's good, and maybe they buy one or two deals during the holiday season. That's the vast majority of players. Now, the reason I jumped from us as a community having power to spending money is because there are a lot of new players amongst you. However, some veteran players might remember 2 Christmases ago, we had a deal in the shop. This was before we had the holiday Christmas calendar. The offer was you spent around $100 Canadian and you unlocked Macotep, right? I'm not going to argue if this is a good or bad deal. You know, if the money is yours, if you want to spend it, sure. If you don't, whatever, right? Like, I'm not going to argue for that. The important thing about that is that we haven't had that deal since. I ask you this, why is that? If that deal sold well, and a lot of people bought it, we will see it again. Because the reason we don't have that deal repeated is because people didn't buy it. And that's where the power lies. The reason they're doing a holiday calendar is because people are more likely to buy one of the 30 deals that people label as too good to pass. So they feel the pressure to buy the thing. And that is the truth. We as the players, we actually have so much power over the game. But this power, it's not realized. People argue that, oh my god, Snowprint is like super bad with their overpriced deals in the shop. Can you blame them for putting overpriced deals in the shop? Because I don't. People keep buying those deals. If people didn't buy deals, Snowprint will lower the prices. That's just a fact. If people are not buying your product, then you need to lower the price to get them to buy. Like, people are going to say, but Draupnir, what's that? Like, this is business 101. If I sell a bottle of water for $300, nobody's going to buy it. That's just not realistic. Now, people like to complain, and I'm pretty sure, like, some of you, I'm not all of you, of course, I'm not going to generalize, but statistically speaking, the people watching this video, some of you will complain about these deals. But as long as people keep buying the deals you deem overpriced, who cares about the vocal minority who complains? At the end of the day, the bottom line isn't affected. You still make the money. The way the overpriced deals will get their prices reduced if people actually stopped buying them. If we had one legendary event where not a single person bought the oh so close deal, I promise you the next event the prices will be lowered. Because Snowprint, they're beholden to their shareholders, right? The people who invest money. And those people, they want to see a return in investment. They're not doing this as like a, kindness of their heart. They do care. I don't want that to get lost. Snowprint clearly does care about Tacticus. It's the way they make money. And having spoken to them not in person, but on Discord and whatnot, as a creator, I do have slightly, like minimally more access to them than you do, not as much as you imagine. I really am just a content monkey, that's all I am. But, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of really passionate, skillful developers in Snowprint who work extremely hard to give us the best product they can. And one thing I can point to and say, hey, this is an example of Snowprint caring, is Belisarius' Call. Because that raid boss, I don't think you've had a chance to play it by the time I release this video. Or maybe you may, I don't know, the schedule is really messed up. Is Snowprint didn't have to take such risks with that boss, and they did. So they're clearly trying to innovate, test new stuff, and give us good experiences. But just because that's something that exists doesn't change the fact that if players could be on the same page, we could get the changes we want significantly faster. The reason the way things are the way they are is because players are not on the same page. For some people, the price of deals are a problem. So those people complain about that. However, if snowprint are content with the amount of people buying their deals, then the price will never go down. Because despite the fact that people are complaining, they're making their money, and that's the goal at the end of the day. They're a business. I'm not saying this out of like oh, how dare snowprint make money, because that's a really stupid thing to say, by the way. However, if we could be on the same page, I just want you to imagine, for the sake of argument, I made a video not too long ago complaining about how Salvage and Onslaught were not fun, and I wish we had the ability to raid with them. The unfortunate reality of the situation is that video will never change anything. It's just me shouting at the void. Snowprint doesn't care because people keep playing the modes and spending time, and it's a good way to show player retention, player engagement, right? The players feel like they have to log in 2-3 times a day, two salvages, 1 onslaught, and it's like, hey, look, our players are getting in, right? However, if all players said, hey, Snowprint, we are not playing salvage or onslaught until you give us the ability to raid them, I promise you that same week we will get the ability to raid them. If Snowprint released an event, and that event, you know what, there doesn't even have to be any condition. If Snowprint released an event, and that event, of course, is going to have paid aspects to it, if not a single person bought the event deals with real money, next event, literally the next event, there will be changes. Because that's how this thing works. You need to keep the players happy. And, if you're on the Discord a lot, if you're on YouTube a lot, it's like, oh my god, Tactics is dying, so many, I've had a whole trinity of negativity event or whatever. But the silent majority of players, the people who don't go on Discord, the people who just play the game for fun, the people who buy deals, they don't really care about the meta, they don't really care about raids, whatever, they don't watch YouTube videos, they're not like you. If they're happy, who cares? Why change anything? And that's the deal. That's why Ragnar got nerfed. Because so many people were unhappy with Tournament Arena, and they were simply not playing Tournament Arena. They unknowingly did what I'm talking here, where if enough people complain and stop playing a game mode, we will see changes, and we will see extreme changes. Ragnar Blackmane and Karn the Betrayer combination is dead. You can no longer one-shot entire teams. It is physically impossible, at least with Karn. Ro didn't get nerfed, and why would Ro get nerfed? I am literally the only person who complains about Ro. There is not a single person. So what incentive does Snowprint have to nerf Ro? The thought of one person doesn't matter. If there were enough people that were complaining, it's like, hey, we've been in a Ro meta for 12 months, we're not going to play raids, and Snowprint actually, Snowprint of course has the data, right? It's their game. If they saw a drastic dip in people playing guild raids, then we will see a change. And that's why things are the way they are. That's why the deals are gonna stay as expensive as they are, because people keep buying them. Because people keep not doing anything about them, because it just works. Why should Snowprint change something that is not broken in their eyes, no matter how we may perceive it? Anyways, that's just my thought process. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and stay safe. Bye!